Something about it has always felt off. You know that nagging gut feeling when the puzzle pieces are on the table but they just don't seem to fit? That's the kind of suspicion that's surrounded Meghan Markle's pregnancies for years now. At first, people brushed it off as just more tabloid nonsense. Weird baby bump shapes, photos that looked way too rehearsed, and the endless belly holding that felt more like a scene from a movie than a real-life moment. But increasingly, the subtle whispers have blossomed into full-blown conversations, and not just from random keyboard warriors online. Word is, someone who supposedly played a very real role in Meghan and Harry's baby journey is now ready to share. Yeah, you heard that right. A woman reportedly connected to the situation is supposed to be breaking her silence, and she's not being vague or cryptic about it. In reality, what she's arguing is bold, that the public pregnancy we all witnessed unfold, on Netflix, in gorgeous magazine spreads and those emotion-filled interviews, may not have been real at all. She's indicating that the entire incident was staged. One word, production. And that's the word igniting fires behind palace doors and sending PR teams into full-blown damage control. Let's take a breath here. Surrogacy, not a big deal in today's world. Celebrities use it all the time. It's natural, tolerated, even applauded. But here's where it becomes tricky. It's not what they may have done, it's how they might have packaged it. Because when you build a pregnancy narrative, one packed with themes of struggle, healing, and triumph, and present it as 100% true, people feel emotionally connected. So if it turns out the tale wasn't real, that's not simply disappointing, that feels like betrayal, especially coming from a couple that's defined themselves on honesty, vulnerability, and breaking out from the royal machine. Remember, Meghan and Harry didn't just walk away from the crown. They made it obvious they wanted solitude, serenity, and space for their family to just be. But then came the Netflix deals, the startling interviews, the baby bump close-ups. You can't declare you want out of the spotlight, then sell your personal tale to the highest bidder and expect zero questions. It's a contradiction that's hard to ignore. And to make things more unsettling, everything since their royal farewell has been precisely choreographed. From meticulously produced films to hyper-controlled media appearances, it's all been polished to perfection. So when someone supposedly related to a surrogate says that the pregnancy was staged, that pierces straight through the ideal picture they've tried so hard to paint. And the timing couldn't be worse. The royal family's already neck-deep in its own media chaos, and now this Meghan and Harry hurricane just swirled right back into their orbit. Palace insiders claim the vibe behind closed doors is seething. Not irritated, not mildly concerned, full-blown red alert mode. Because this doesn't just put Meghan and Harry in a doubtful light, it throws muck all over the entire royal establishment. And let's not underestimate the internet. Once a story like this takes pace online, it's like wildfire. People are breaking out the receipts, screenshots, slow-motion footage, scrutinizing angles like it's the Zapruder film all over again. Did you see how the bump folds here? Why does it shift like that in this clip? Some of these moments, honestly, they're hard to explain away. Even Meghan's most devoted fans are pausing, rewatching, and raising eyebrows at sequences they once deemed stunning. That unpleasant feeling? It's not simply a conspiracy theory anymore. There's no official confirmation, yet, no tell-all interview. But this isn't some fringe Reddit rabbit hole either. If even a portion of this rumor turns out to be accurate, it might become one of the worst breaches of public trust we've ever seen involving royal-adjacent characters. And the irony? Harry and Meghan have always been superb storytellers. Everything they do is about controlling the narrative. But this time, the story is slipping right through their fingers. Here's the section that's got people really talking. It's not what's being stated, it's what's not being spoken. Meghan and Harry, the couple who never miss a time to speak their truth, have gone absolutely eerily silent. No emotive video response, no emotional press statement, no lawyer-crafted Instagram post, just quiet. And when someone who's always had something to say suddenly says nothing, it doesn't scream innocence. It screams strategy. Behind the scenes, sources say it's panic mode, legal teams scrambling, PR teams tightening ship, non-disclosure agreements being double-checked. There are even whispers that their legal camp isn't simply seeking to shut the story down, they're trying to trace its exact origin. Was it a phone call that got leaked? A private chat that got overheard? Or is the surrogate herself finally stepping out of the shadows? If it's that last one, then we're not simply looking at a scandal. We're looking at a full-blown explosion. What happens when someone who's been holding on to explosive secrets finally decides their conscience matters more than their NDA? Hollywood has always had a weird connection with secrets. People stay quiet, until one day they don't. And let's zero in on Hollywood for a moment, because that's Meghan's playground. She wasn't some unknown when she met Prince Harry, but she also wasn't blind to how this world operated. She understands the game. She knows exactly how narratives are spun, guarded, and sold to the public. So when she dragged Harry into her orbit, that wasn't just a romantic step. It was a strategic one. She introduced him to her inner circle, a sophisticated lot who live and breathe media strategy, image building, and cultural influence. People who know how to design a public persona and make the world believe in it. Almost instantly, Harry turned from buttoned-up prince to Netflix icon, podcast darling, and soft-spoken advocate in teary-eyed interviews. His entire image was rebranded, from prince to people's guy, a thorough makeover meant to appeal with modern audiences. And for a while, it worked like a charm. At first, the world embraced the transformation. They were the courageous couple transcending tradition to live their truth. But now, the cracks are starting to show. Because if even one component of their story turns out to be embellished, or worse, made up, then everything they've built is suddenly up for examination. The Oprah sit-down, the streaming specials, the memoirs, the TED Talk-style addresses on mental health and authenticity, they start to feel less like naked truth, and more like skillfully created fiction. Meanwhile, within palace walls, sources say there's not just disappointment, as even hatred. Sure, Harry and Meghan stepped back from their royal duties, but their names are still very much tied to the monarchy, and the monarchy is delicate. Its everything hinges on perception and public trust, a sense of dignity, a centuries-old legacy. So when suspicions start circulating that Meghan's pregnancy might not have been real, that trust takes a significant blow. This isn't just about Meghan's image anymore. This hits at the center of the institution. And then there's the emotional toll that comes with it. If a surrogate was involved, why go to such lengths to keep it under wraps? Was it fear of retaliation, embarrassment, or was it a premeditated attempt to keep the fairy tale alive? Because nothing generates global buzz like a royal baby. The bump photographs, the cover shoots, the gushing headlines, it's commercial gold. But surrogacy, even while it's totally valid and increasingly prevalent, doesn't give that same fairy tale charm. And here's where things start getting even more complicated. If this whole affair was a setup, it indicates a lot more individuals were in on it. Staff members, advisors, and maybe even relatives. And if they all played along, then this isn't just Meghan and Harry pulling the strings. We're talking about an entire network of people helping sustain a well-created illusion. That's the element that's freaking out insiders. The concern that this wasn't just a couple's personal decision, it might have been a full-blown strategy to shape their public image. Well, and if that campaign gets exposed, the response might be terrible. Fans will feel horribly cheated. The media? They'll go into a frenzy. Suddenly, every comment the Sussexes have made will be pulled apart. People will start wondering what else wasn't real. What other real moments were merely staged vulnerability with a PR spin? And once that kind of skepticism gets in, it's nearly tough to shrug off. It lingers. Most royal scandals blow over eventually, but this is different. It dives deeper than the usual gossip, because this isn't just about headlines, it's about trust. Trust that took years to build and may disintegrate overnight. Once the busters both ability to financiers, when your brand is predicated on being raw and true, even a whisper of dishonesty doesn't just tarnish the image, it shatters it. And this whole purported surrogacy story, it's not simply background noise anymore. It's become a full-blown credibility test that might reshape how the world views Harry and Meghan forever. Well, another for Meghan, this is very difficult. Her entire public character is founded in strength, grace, and womanhood. Becoming a mother was a significant part of that story, one she's happily shared every step of the way. from beautiful baby belly photos to poignant interviews to those lovely black and white announcements. But if any of that was staged, even a single part, people won't just be unhappy, they'll feel profoundly betrayed. Why it? Because for millions of women, parenting isn't a marketing aesthetic, it's something sacred. Pretending to live that experience? That touches a very sensitive chord. Right, and then there's Harry, the prince who left it all behind to shelter his family, the man who pledged he wouldn't let history repeat itself with the press. But now, he's stuck in a whirlwind of silence and suspicion. Some believe he's being used, others are certain he's part of the act. Either way, staying quiet is simply making matters worse. Once upon a time, people were intrigued by the wild prince, the bold soldier, the rebellious king with a spark. But that guy? He's practically impossible to spot now. What remains is someone profoundly involved in sponsorship deals, TV contracts, and what feels like an unceasing battle to stay in the spotlight. Those closest to him are beginning to whisper about the transformation. They believe he's no longer that same unfettered spirit. Hollywood's mold has transformed him into someone tougher to recognize. Not necessarily worse, but definitely different, more refined, more cautious. He's traded up centuries of tradition for a 24/7 public stage. And while that trade-off may have felt like freedom in the beginning, it's becoming more obvious. This limelight comes with invisible chains. Behind the scenes, the stress is boiling over. PR teams are in overdrive, scrambling to suppress leaks, silence sources, and plug any cracks. But the internet doesn't halt for damage control. Speculation is running rampant. Some of it sounds out there, sure, but a lot of it is related to receipts, timelines, pictures, weird tiny slip-ups like the inexplicable shape-shifting bump. Remember that popular video when the tummy seemed to wrinkle oddly? The questionable camera angles, the cropping? What used to be written off as troll chatter is now garnering serious consideration. And that's when things get risky. When rumors move into public discourse, the rules shift. People start questioning questions, reporters grow inquisitive. Insiders get apprehensive. And when enough individuals feel nervous, things begin to leak. One photo, one private text, one whispered comment suddenly landing in the public eye. It only takes one credible leak to unravel the whole carefully constructed image. That's the actual threat for Meghan and Harry. Not simply a few bad headlines, real lasting suspicion. Because when the public starts asking, what else were we lied to about? The spell has broken. The trust is gone. Netflix might still cut checks. Book royalties may grow. But the true currency, emotional connection, that tends to disappear fast. There's still time to course correct, but not with PR spin or high-powered lawyers, with naked honesty. If a surrogate was involved, just be open. If the pregnancy was legitimate, show the proof. Nobody's asking for flawlessness. People desire genuineness, and even messy truth merits more respect than polished lies. Silence, though, that merely adds fuel on the fire, and this blaze isn't fading down, it's picking up speed. It's morphing, and it's taking Meghan and Harry's once untouchable image down with it. Whatever the real story is, they'd better get ahead of it. Because in today's society, just keeping quiet doesn't shield you, it exposes you, and in the ruthless arena of public opinion, quiet screams louder than words.